And joining us again tonight to discuss Day 15 of the impeachment trial is former Integrated Bar of the Philippines President, Attorney Egon Cayosa. Good evening, Attorney. Welcome to The Big Story once again.
Good evening, Ses. Magandang gabi sa ating mga kababayan.
Attorney, the lawyers stole the thunder from the witness and from the proceedings with their arguments and also the manifestation of the defense at the close of the trial. How would you assess the back and forth, the behavior of the lawyers?
Well, we hope that the Senate Impeachment Court will take better control of the proceedings, Ses. At yung sentimiento ng Defense Counsel, the lead counsel this afternoon, I hope it will really trigger a ruling or at least some admonition, very firm and concrete admonition from the presiding officer and from the impeachment court as a whole. And while, of course, we cannot disagree with the statements of the lead counsel, respect, good manners, and courtesy, that's expected of every lawyer. Okay, whether or not the particular instance that she cited would be violative of Rule 18, yung subjudice rule of the Senate Impeachment Court, remains to be seen. But nevertheless, this is an observation that we've been repeating right from the very start, that it is equally important, if not more important, for the Senate Impeachment Court to maintain order and credibility and integrity. Because it is important that whatever the outcome of this impeachment case would be, that it is respected and accepted by the public.
Okay.
And while the Senate Impeachment Court and the presiding officer is at the matter, perhaps they could also call the attention of the parties because they've been equally guilty, if not more guilty, than the lawyers in making comments outside of the court, not only about the merits of the case, but even impugning the integrity and competence of the impeachment court.
You mean the senator judges?
Yes, no, not yet. Of course, that admonition should also be
Yeah.
directed to the senator judges because they're even worse. You know, they don't only openly side with the parties. They ask irrelevant questions, unintelligent questions, and more. Some of them even try to testify and put into the records things that are uncalled for a neutral judge. So, but ito may sinumpa ang oath of office mga ito, yung neutrality, impartiality. The presiding officer and the Senate as a whole should really remind each other that as they ask the lawyers to behave, they should also ask their fellow judges to behave, including, of course, yung nasasakdal. Because lately, she has been telling terrible things, directly impugning the integrity and questioning the integrity of the impeachment court in public. This should not be allowed. I think yung rule of law and any semblance of credibility and integrity would be shattered kung payagan nila ang mga partido, mga hukom at mga councils to utterly disregard the minimum decorum expected and required of them.
All right, but I don't know if you expect the presiding officer to castigate his fellow senator judges.
Well, perhaps not castigate says, but to remind them. And he has to do that also publicly. He doesn't have to name names. I think the senators know themselves, no? The lawyers know themselves, the parties know themselves. It is very important that the public would hear that because ang napapansin natin, parang masyadong free-wheeling na lang eh. Kung ano lang ang pinapasok nila kahit wala nang katuturan, parang maging ano lang ito, sarswela eh. And definitely, I don't think the senators would waste time doing this.
All right. Now let's go to the matter that triggered the ire of the defense. Is it correct that during cross-examination, there misleading or leading questions are not allowed, both in a regular court of law as well as in the impeachment court, which
The
was
rule
the
is very
subject, sorry, which was the subject of the social media post of Attorney Ligutan.
Well, the rule is very clear. During cross-examination, you may ask leading questions, but you cannot ask misleading questions. So malinaw yan, says. So even I, when I was listening, nabigla ako dun sa sinabi na pwede daw. But now, upon manifestation by the lead counsel, mukhang inexplain niya yon na hindi daw yun ang ibig sabihin niya. But of course, for us, without that explanation, na after the fact, nung narinig namin, para bang pinilit niya na pwede daw. So, there's a misunderstanding here. So, it triggered that reaction perhaps from Attorney Ligutan. I don't know in what context he put that post in social media. Anyway, he'll be heard before the ruling is made by the presiding officer.
Right. But I looked at the portion again, and because the explanation of Attorney Season was the retort of Attorney Ferrer was not pertaining to the misleading question, but to another. Pero it seemed to be, she agreed. She said it's allowed.
Yes, that's how I heard it also.
Yes.
So, without the explanation, yun ang dinig nating lahat. So now they come up with an explanation. I cannot disagree with the lead defense counsel that we have to respect each other. We have to observe propriety as lawyers. And I'd be the first one to request and remind them that as lawyers, we need to behave much better than that. But whether or not that post by Attorney Ligutan refers to that particular thing, yung kanyang interpretation is another thing. But of course, if you insist that that is a violation of the sub judice rule, no, yung Rule 18, medyo malabo because it doesn't really speak of the merits of the case. Yun bawal kasi sa Rule 18 to discuss outside the court the merits of the case.
Pero parang siguro patong-patong na ang feeling ng defense na masyado nang nabubuli si Attorney Ferrer ni Attorney Kapunan.
Yes, that's I see that also. But in fairness to her also, she's very feisty. Hindi naman siya basta-bastang nabubuli. So I don't also and she was very quick. She couldn't be restrained also, di ba?
Right.
Talagang yung kaya naman niya makipagtapatan kahit mas senior na abogado. And that's, we have to appreciate that among lawyers. But whether or not the intention of yung manifestation was to cite the fact that nabubuli siya o kaya a bit of a drama, we don't know. But the fact is, and we all agree, the Senate Impeachment Court must take better control of the proceedings.
All right. Now let's go to her main task. The main task of Attorney Ferrer was to cross-examine the witness and demolish her testimony. Did she succeed?
Well, she succeeded in getting additional facts admitted by the witness, so which was not taken up during the direct examination, di ba? So the fact, for example, that merong mga liquidations na disallow and eventually na restore, na credit. The fact that meron ng desisyon ang yung unit in investigating this or auditing, and then meron ng desisyon ang commission and bank, but there is an MR. That's also something that positive for their side, at least insofar as the public is concerned. But legally, medyo malabo pa rin for those who understand the law, di ba? So marami naman siyang mga naipasok na bagong mga bagay-bagay. And we appreciate that because we need to know all the details. But if you say na completely demolish, I cannot agree with that because very consistent naman yung testimony ng mga witness at kahit nga barabarahin siya ng some senator judges, hindi rin siya natitinag. And as a matter of fact, very straightforward yung kanyang mga sagot. Nakita natin na hindi niya dinadagdagan, and she's humble enough to say kung hindi niya alam. But he was also smart enough to answer back kung pinipilit siya dun sa gustong marinig na sagot na hindi naman yun sa kanyang paningin. So, by and large, intact naman yung kanyang testimony. And and that's a basic rule. When the witness is telling the truth and the witness is competent, no amount of cross-examination will completely demolish yung kanyang mga testimony.
And kahit paulit-ulit na yung tanong, yun pa rin ang sagot niya. Kahit balik-baliktarin mo, yun pa rin.
Yes, as a matter of fact, yung knowing the COA procedures, medyo restrained pa nga ang kanyang pagsagot eh. Linilimit lang niya dun sa kanyang personal knowledge, dun sa mga dokumento, when in fact, he could have said a lot more as an auditor. Kasi hindi lang naman yung circular ang basehan nito. More importantly is the constitutional mandate. That's the fundamental law. And it says that they should prevent irregular, unnecessary, excessive, extravagant, or unconscionable expenses. Irregular lang, that's all-encompassing. But she was just limiting herself to the COA audit circular.
I'd like to ask you, Attorney Cayosa, when the defense showed part of the justification for the spending, many of those were related to events, public events of the VP, like prior to, and I think Attorney Kapunan pointed this out, prior to attending an event, ika-case yung lugar, etc. Covered ba yun ng confidential funds? Parang it's a redundant job by her security personnel.
Well, I don't think it should be covered because the PSG guarding and taking care of the security of the president has its own fund, has its own intelligence fund. So kung dodoblahin pa yan, talagang waste of funds yan. Plus, ang kulang dito yung mga accomplishment reports and yung mga necessary supporting documents. At yung nasa-sidetrack kasi tayo dun sa mga aliases o yung katuwang mga pangalan, pero the joke is on us, pera natin yan eh. Pero malinaw naman na naipakita nila na hindi lang ho ito yung, actually, it doesn't matter kung anong pangalan eh. Ang mas importante, over a long period of time, the Vice President was not able to comply with the requirements of documentation, and there were expenses that were incurred outside of the relevant periods. Yung reimbursement, na bawal yan sa COA circular, pati yung mga expenditures that are not allowed as intelligence or confidential fund expenditures. So doon pa lang, hindi sila nakakaalis doon eh. Kahit nasabihin natin may tao behind these aliases and nakakatawang pangalan, they cannot explain everything away. Well, of course, we'll have to wait kung ano yung creative way by which the defense will try to explain that when their time comes to present evidence. But ang problema ng defense dito says, meron na silang sinabmit ng mga dokumento at mga arguments in the motion for reconsideration, in the appeal, and they cannot totally veer away from that.
Now, this tension-filled day got the attention of the public. So, kumbaga, balik na naman ulit, parang nagka-interest na naman ulit ang publiko sa nangyayari sa trial.
Well, you're correct. And that may be a blessing in disguise. Kasi diba, na may konting drama, para sa ganun, parang telenovela. We cannot blame the public. They'll be bored with all of the figures. They could only digest and cling onto sound bites. Yun ang importante. And that's why very crucial din that these things are discussed, especially the principles of law behind these things. Kasi kung hindi, magpapaniwala ang taong bayan dun sa mga troll farms o kaya sa vloggers na wala na sa linya, wala na sa batas, wala na sa katotohanan.
So, Attorney Cayosa, ano ang pinakamahalagang napakita ng dalawang COA auditors so far on the alleged misuse of the confidential funds of the Office of the Vice President and of the DepEd?
Well, ang mahalaga dito ay naipag-connect nila yung withdraw sa yung paggamit ng hindi ito small time na paggamit. Tens and hundreds of millions ang nagamit. Naipakita nila kung paano, kung bakit na disallow ng COA. Because we have to understand, in the order of things, it is COA that has the final say on whether or not things are disallowed, because that's the independent constitutional body.
Okay.
But it's not enough. Sabi, disallow ng COA yan, therefore okay na, pwede nang gamitin. Na-explain nila yung process eh. So I think that's very important para maintindihan ng taong bayan. Pangalawa, the laws and the rules involved para hindi na naman na masabi na baka nagsisinungaling mga ito, nag-exaggerate, o kaya politically motivated. You cannot claim those things with respect to COA because the testimonies of the two witnesses from COA is not about their personal findings. Yung report na yan, that's a report of the agency that has been approved by the commission and bank. Na ito, na-deny, motion for reconsideration na lang ito eh. So,
Yeah.
the chances na i-reverse nila ang sarili nila, very slim. Pangalawa, kahit tatakbo sa Supreme Court, hindi rin niya, very slim din yan because certiorari yan. At meron namang pinagdaan ng proseso at merong sufficient batas.
Alright.
Ayan.
But there was one question from the presiding officer that was telling as to whether, because yung disallowance ay dahil sa testimony doon sa Kongreso, di ba sir, na sinabi the Special Disbursing Officer gave it to the security office, gave the funds to the security office of La Chica and another colonel for disbursement. That's not allowed. And the presiding officer said he wasn't sure if it was a blanket disburse or turnover of the funds.
Yeah, he made a good point, no? Ang sinabi niya, hindi doon sa isa malinaw na sinabi niya, lahat yan, instruction, ibigay ko sa security officer. Bawal yun. Pero doon sa pangalawa, sabi niya, mukhang hindi malinaw na lahat. But that begs the question, says na, sabihin na natin, kalahati lang ang may instruction ibigay. Paano yung disallowed? Marami, pera pa rin yan ng gobyerno. It's still a blatant violation of the rules.
But also,
Doesn't really matter.
Attorney Cayosa, the decision to disallow was a result of that hearing. Is that weak? Is that a flaw? Kasi sinasabi ng defense, they were saying there's a process and parang hindi kasali ito. Base lang yun sa pagrinig niya dun sa hearing.
Well, alam mo yung narrative na yan na kung wala dun sa COA Circular 2015-01, hindi pwede. Mali yun, says
Mali ba
Because,
yun?
of course,
Parang if you're confining yourself only to those to the guidelines in the joint circular, parang masyado namang confining.
Yes, parang may blinders ang COA and that's not the intention. Ang basic
Narinig mo na nga no, pinagbawal, di ba? Sa bagay.
Yeah, as a responsible COA auditor or
Right.
COA official,
Okay.
any information, reliable information, ito kasi under oath, sinabi mismo ng mga special disbursing officers. So, you can believe that because
Alright.
this is not chismis. It's in a formal hearing. It's
Right.
under oath.
That's
So
true.
it's well within their right and responsibility to also include that in their evaluation.
Okay. Now, I'd like to ask you, obviously, this joint circular has to be strengthened. This was brought up by Senator Ping Lacson, I think, and several other senators that saw flaws. I think Raffy Tulfo, Senator Raffy Tulfo also, parang kulang ang safeguards sa pera ng bayan. Di ba? Don't you think?
Well, that's the usual reaction of legislators says. Kung may problema, let's amend the law, kulang ang law. But sa tingin ko, that was already a measure, a remedial measure because nga, ang background niyan, naglipa na yung pag-aabuso sa confidential fund. Kaya nga, in-strengthen yan. So even this narrative na merong 1992, dapat relevant pa rin, hindi na eh. Kasi nga, precisely in-strengthen nila. Now, sa tingin ko, basta manindigan lang ang COA dito sa circular na ito at ipatubad sa lahat, sa tingin ko sapat na eh. Ang problema kasi kung minsan napupuli sila ng mga disbursing agencies. Kung powerful sila, eh, natatahimik sila. Tingnan mo itong nangyari dito, di ba? Nakakwento nila inadvertently. Imbes na mag-explain yung ino-audit, silang pinapatawag. Mga ganun ba? And that should not happen, di ba? Yung kung naninindigan talaga ang COA. Plus, ito, medyo matagal na ito eh. So, the same po na natin sa ating judicial branch, itong mga guardians of our public funds should also move faster. They should also explain, ba't ang
Right.
tagal ng desisyonan ito?
There's so much leeway. Paano na po yan? Parang hindi naman balon ng pera ang gobyerno na you can just keep getting and getting. Kung ang daming mga hindi funds na unliquidated, di ba? That's considering that our government is hard put for money and funds and has led to borrowing, kailangan judicious talaga po ang paggastos.
Tama. At saka it's not a defect in the rules or in the law. It's how rigorous COA is in implementing it. The truth really is nako-co-op din at nape-pressure yung COA unfortunately.
And finally, going back to the anticipated ruling of the presiding officer on Monday, as you said, he has to tighten control, but do you think he should cite some individuals, because he long ago had asked for them to consider, both panels to consider having spokespersons outside those who are actually prosecuting the case, prosecuting and defending the case.
Yeah, that's a helpful suggestion, but unfortunately, both parties they're not accepting it or not welcoming it, and there's nothing that the presiding officer or the Senate can do about that. That's a choice and decision of the parties. But what he can do, malamang he's a politician, it's a collegiate body, malamang he will not name names. Kasi wala din namang practical effect kung mag-name names siya. It will just spawn a lot of arguments na sa sidetrack na naman yung mga main issues tungkol dito sa kaso na ito.
But in fairness, attorney, to Michael Powa, I've seen some of his press conferences. He really is very careful and does not want to comment if he thinks that his response will be sub judice or go into the merits of the case.
I can agree with that, Tess. And commendable yung kanyang restraint, no? Even the way he behaves in court, 'di ba? Yung
Right.
hindi masyadong mapilit. So maginoo nga siya eh, 'di ba? Yung makita naman natin sa kanya, and that has to be appreciated also. But how we wish and we hope that all the other parties, including his client, would adopt the same attitude, 'di ba?
As always, we appreciate your insights, former IBP President Attorney Egon Cayosa.